Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Imagine this. It's June 22nd, 1609, high in the Mexican Sierra Madre. An indigenous king stands with his back pressed against a massive rock shaped like a bull. The morning sun climbs over the eastern peaks, and he watches intently as his shadow stretches across a narrow canyon, pointing like a dark finger toward a cave on the opposite bank. Inside that cave, his warriors are sealing away several tons of gold and silver, the entire wealth of his people. Within 2 years, he'll be dead. His kingdom will fall. And that treasure, it's still there, waiting in the darkness, hidden by a shadow that only falls in exactly the right spot one day each year. Welcome to one of Mexico's most tantalizing unsolved mysteries, the lost treasure of Mesa del Toro. Our story begins in 1530, in the rugged Sierra Madre foothills along Mexico's Pacific coast. Hernán Cortés, fresh from conquering the Aztec Empire, dispatches soldiers to explore the western territories. These aren't diplomats. They're conquistadors, searching for gold, silver, and souls to convert. A year later, Nuno de Guzman arrives and founds the settlement of Culiacan. But Guzman is chasing legends, specifically the mythical land of the Amazons. During his travels, he hears whispers of something even more tantalizing, 7 golden cities lying just a few leagues north. But Guzman never reaches them. Disease ravages his body, desertion decimates his ranks, and his political ambitions doom him. He'd made the fatal mistake of rebelling against both Cortés and the Spanish crown. When he falls from grace, his discoveries are erased from official history. For 30 years, the indigenous Mayo and Tarahumari tribes maintained their independence. In 1563, Francisco de Ibarra attempts conquest, but the tribes repel him completely. Their knowledge of the terrain and guerrilla tactics proved too much for Spanish steel. Then comes 1576, and everything changes. A plague sweeps through the Mayo and Tarahumari populations with devastating force. For 2 horrific years, disease tears through villages like wildfire. The death toll is almost incomprehensible. 2 million people, warriors, leaders, farmers, all gone. The sophisticated societies that had resisted Spanish conquest simply collapse. The Spanish, led by Moya y Contreras and Pedro Sanchez, see their opportunity. In spring 1583, they launch a coordinated offensive. The weakened indigenous forces retreat into the mountains, regrouping under a brilliant leader named Troano, a man whose legal code was just it survived in indigenous communities for centuries. The tribes make their stand at Mesa del Toro, the Mesa of the Bull. It's a natural fortress, an elevated plateau with commanding views and water access from the Schwa River. For nearly 3 decades, they hold this position against repeated Spanish assaults. Moya y Contreras throws everything at them: siege tactics, direct assaults, encirclements. Every attack fails with heavy Spanish casualties. The defenders know every rock, every approach. They are fighting for their existence, and they will not yield. But another story unfolds during these years, a strange tale that will eventually reveal the treasure's location. In 1539, 70 years before the treasure is hidden, a man named Esteban is captured by indigenous scouts. Esteban is African, a servant to Cortés, and history remembers him grimly. He introduced smallpox to Mexico. Whether intentionally or accidentally, we'll never know, but the disease he carried killed millions. His captors amputate both his legs to prevent escape. It's brutal, but pragmatic. Estevan possesses valuable knowledge about Spanish tactics and intentions. To ease his captivity, they give him a wife. Through her, Estevan learns everything about indigenous culture, history, and most importantly, their treasures and sacred sites. With no way to communicate with the Spanish, Estevan does something remarkable. He begins writing everything down on tepaliates, indigenous bark paper. Page after page, year after year, he creates a detailed chronicle of everything he learns. These documents miraculously survive. They'll eventually fall into Spanish hands and provide crucial clues to the treasure. But Estevan will never know his lonely scribblings will become the key to one of history's greatest treasure hunts. By 1609, the situation at Mesa del Toro has become desperate. The indigenous forces face a terrible calculation. They don't have enough warriors to both defend the fortress and guard their wealth. Every man guarding treasure is one who can't defend the walls. The king makes a bold decision. He orders his war chiefs to gather every piece of gold and silver the tribe possesses. Tons of golden breastpins, silver earrings, ornate rings, ceremonial pieces representing generations of craftsmanship. It's the entire material wealth of their civilization. Then comes the genius part. On June 22, 1609, the king positions himself against a large rock formation resembling a bull, the Toro, that gives the mesa its name. As the sun rises, he watches his shadow stretch across the Arroyo del Toro canyon. Where that shadow strikes the opposite bank, his warriors construct a cave called the Cuavo Pinto, the Painted Cave. Into this cave, they carry tons of treasure and seal it. But here's the brilliant part. Only someone who knows the exact date, time, position, and rock can replicate the shadow and find the entrance. It's an astronomical lock, calibrated by the sun itself. By consolidating the treasure, the king frees several hundred warriors for combat. It's sound military strategy, but it won't be enough. In 1610, the Viceroy of New Spain appoints Fontanus, a Jesuit priest, to crush the resistance. The Spanish establish 3 fortified settlements, and General Antonio Gomez begins systematic encirclement. Negotiations fail. Gomez launches the final assault. After holding for nearly 3 decades, Mesa del Toro falls. The indigenous king dies in battle. Survivors flee in chaos toward Tabares, abandoning everything, including the treasure. The retreat is so hasty there's no time to evacuate the sealed cave. The shadow's secret remains unspoken. Among those left behind is Estevan. Unable to travel with amputated legs, the retreating warriors execute him, a pragmatic but tragic end. He leaves 4 children. Their mothers, seeking protection from the conquering Spanish, hand over Estevan's chronicles to General Gomez. The Spanish now have detailed records about hidden treasures, but even with Estevan's documents, they never find the main cache. The shadow method proves too complex to replicate without knowing exactly how the king stood, which rock, which morning hour. The tons of gold and silver remain sealed in darkness. Centuries pass, the Spanish era ends, Mexico wins independence, and the modern world encroaches. But the treasure of Mesa del Toro remains undiscovered. Occasionally, placer miners working Arroyo del Toro wash out artifacts, golden breastpins, silver earrings, rings of exquisite craftsmanship. These pieces, with their ancient designs, prove the story isn't myth. Something is up there, slowly eroding into the stream. And then there's Mochomo. Locals call him the large black ant. He wanders the region, seemingly aimless but recovering more artifacts than anyone else. People whisper that he's a descendant of the original guards, that the duty of protecting the treasure has been passed down through his family for 4 centuries. He never speaks about what he knows, not to outsiders, not even to fellow indigenous people. He simply walks the hills, occasionally returning with another piece of ancient gold. Today, Mesa del Toro remains scattered with thousands of stone tomahawks and arrowheads, physical evidence of that final battle. Stone crosses mark graves where Spanish soldiers and indigenous warriors lie together, old enmities buried with their bones. And somewhere on the western bank of Arroyo del Toro, sealed behind rock and earth, several tons of gold and silver wait in the painted cave. Every June 22nd, the sun rises over the Sierra Madre, and somewhere a shadow falls in exactly the right place, pointing like a dark finger toward a fortune. But which rock? Which spot? Which shadow? The king took that secret to his grave in 1611. Perhaps Mochomo knows. Perhaps the shadow method has been lost forever, scrambled by earthquakes or erosion or time itself. Or perhaps, on the right morning at the right angle, the sun will reveal what has been hidden for over 4 centuries. The treasure of Mesa del Toro is still out there, waiting for someone clever enough or lucky enough to read the language of shadows. This has been the story of the lost treasure of Mesa del Toro, where indigenous ingenuity, Spanish conquest, and the mysteries of time converge in one of Mexico's most enduring legends. The gold remains hidden, the guardian remains silent, and the shadow falls year after year, pointing toward a secret that refuses to be revealed. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.